Hello everyone and welcome to Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Sheon Wakimbale. March 28th and April 11th were dates we looked forward to perhaps more than anything for the year 2015. The elections of those two dates became a major high point of the year already. Remember, most of us believe the elections will determine a lot in our continued existence as a nation. And so it actually turned out. So it is most heartwarming that the outcome didn't turn out in a major crisis like many envisage. Thanks again to the phone call President Jonathan put through to the President-elect General Muhammadu Buhari, where that, of course, sent a strong signal to the followers and supporters of both men. The exercise is not done and dusted in some parts of the country. I suppose in some areas like Imo State, Anambra State, Nasarawa State are still inconclusive. But what lessons have we been able to learn from the exercise? Are we better off than 4 years ago in the last elections? We'll take a review of the exercise and the lessons learned. Well, groups and different independent bodies are already speaking about the process. First, let's hear from civil society group and what they are saying about the role of security operatives during the elections.
The use of force by security officials were observed, an increase of 5% compared to the trend observed during the presidential and National Assembly elections. Security officials bearing firearms were cited in 11% of the polling units. In spite of the satisfactory conduct of security personnel, cases of insecurity and misconduct were observed in some polling units, some of which are highlighted below. There were cases of ballot box snatching, illegal possession of ballot papers, result sheets across the country, including snatching of result sheets and attack on voters by a retired senior police officer in Urukanam local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Some polling units in Rivers, Edo, Imo, Akwa Ibom, and Abia were observed to be insecure.
That's Kemi Okeyande of the Clean Foundation and with other civil society organizations. But what exactly is the Human Rights Commission saying? The chairman of the NHRC, Professor Chidi Andikali, remember, he spoke about the flashpoints before the election. 8 states he mentioned. Now the commission has come out to speak about the outcome of the process. This is what Professor Chidi Andikali says about security violence in the 2015 elections.
We've got somewhere in the region of between 65 and 70 incidents under investigation in different places. Different states, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Delta, Cross River, Ebonyi, Benue. Today we confirmed the death as far as Jigawa. But by and large, an overwhelming majority of the incidents we've got are in the states of the South, South, and Southeast. That's quite clear. That's the concentration of the footprint. And what we've got to do is find out, in terms of medium to long-term diagnosis, why this was so. Do I know why? Certainly, there is an influx of small arms, and we've been warning about this. There's an influx of small arms and light weapons in the Delta that is frightening. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge not just for the elections. I think following the elections, and my belief is that challenge is going to be there. If we don't manage it properly, it could intensify. The National Human Rights Commission, we took on in this cycle of elections the issue of election-related violence, and that's all we did. That's all we lived. That's all we breathed. From the issue of hate speech, which we introduced Nigerians to the notion that there are some things that the Electoral Act actually prohibits hate speech. We addressed the question of violence, of pre-election violence, and and started the process of counting the dead bodies. And those little things do matter. And post-election, we are looking to consolidate our reports, and we are going to go into a phase of accountability, of arguing the case and establishing the case why any identified persons must be brought to account, because we don't want to go through this in 2019.
Well, of course, that's Professor Chidi Andikali, the chairman of the National Human Rights Commission. They're talking about the issue of violence. But the exercise wasn't all about security. What about the conduct, logistics, and the rest? The head of the European Union observers, Mr. Santiago Fisas, briefed about what his group observed in the election.
Security incidents and interference were reported from across the country. Predominantly, these were inter-party clashes and attacks on election sites by hoodlums, often involving ballot box and session material snatching. Problems have been very severe in Rivers and Akwa Ibom states, where there are multiple credible reports of violence and interference. It is very regrettable that so many people lost their lives during polling day.